Hi, this is Debbie Scholar, and this video will show you the 4 secrets of card payments. This video is part of my T&E Plus blog posting on the same subject, which you can find at www.teplus.net. That stands for Travel and Entertainment Expenses, plus a whole lot more. Let's talk about the benefits of using a meeting card or a P card for paying your meetings and events. They will reduce your transaction processing cost, your administrative cost. They'll improve your employee productivity, maximize your rebate or incentive, which is really important to many organizations, and it will ensure auditable procedures, controls, and fraud protection. Many organizations want to use a card to pay for products and services because of the rebate or the incentive that they get back from the card company. However, it's important to note that there are many things that could decrease that incentive, such as membership rewards. So what we're going to talk about is membership reward deductions in one of our secrets today, along with a couple of other secrets too. First of all, let's talk about secret number 1. It is great when to use a card product to pay for products or services because of the information, the detail that we can get in the card reports. We can get, of course, the supplier name, the descriptions, the spend amount, of course, the currencies. But as we go forward, we can also have it grouped into different categories based on what the supplier enters into their card data. One of the things that I like to do is couple my card data with a tool called Spend Radar, which will help me itemize cost into categories so that I can analyze the spend much better. One of the ways it's itemized is by the UNSPSC category. That stands for the United Nations Standard Products and Services Code, which is actually an open global multi-sector standard for efficient and accurate classification of products and services. However, it's also possible to itemize the spend by the SIC, or Standard Industrial Classification Code, which is 7011 for hotels and motels, or the Merchant Category Code, which is also 7011 for hotels and motels. There are so many things that you can glean from actually using a card instead of going through typical accounts payable and a check request. It's amazing. The other thing that I really love about using a card and coupled with the Spend Radar is the ability to break down my hotel chains versus my brands. So you can see here that I have 4 or 5 different Hilton hotels, but I also can itemize it by brand, so I can see the DoubleTree, the Embassy Suites, and the Hampton Inn. This kind of data really helps me when I'm trying to leverage the total volume of transient and group spend with a client so that we can actually get better discounts, more concessions, etc. Of course, I also like to add to my hotel or other supplier contracts that they agree to accept the different card products that I may use. Let's go on to secret number 2. It is a good practice to use a division of responsibilities to prevent fraud. In this example, we use a meetings card and the supplier itemizes the cost. The meeting planner actually authorizes that a payment is made, and whether or not it's an amount or a zero amount. And you might ask, well, why would it be zero? But many times meeting planners have to give a card number to a supplier just to hold the space or to hold the event or the activity, but the charge actually is not, the card is not charged yet. And then we have another person who's a meeting card administrator who for the team or for the department will actually manage the authorization, receive the invoices, the backup data, and also reconciles the data. Obviously, this diagram is just a snapshot of a much more thorough process map, but there is less chance for fraud exposure when the meeting planner requests payment and another person authorizes the charge. The other thing that I also add to my hotel contracts is that the supplier will not charge any credit card unless it's authorized by the organization. So there's never an opportunity for them to make a charge without me knowing it. Let's go on to the next secret. This is where we talk about savings and cost avoidance of using a meeting card or P card instead of a corporate card to pay for meetings, especially if your corporate card accrues membership rewards points. Let's presume that our meeting spend that's placed on corporate cards that may accrue points is $5 million. Then we talk to our card company and we find out that 51% of the people are actually enrolled in the membership rewards program. As you probably know, there is a fee to usually join a membership rewards program, but even though the people pay the fee, the organization also has to pay a fee, which we're going to see here. So 51% of the employees are actually enrolled in the membership rewards program, and we're going to presume that those people are also paying for meetings and events on their card. So the meeting spend that's placed on a corporate card that obtains membership rewards is $2,550,000. Remember that we said that there is a fee to the organization for participation in the membership rewards program. It's based on something we called basis points. A basis point is a term that refers to 1/100th of a percentage point, and it's used by card companies to calculate the cost of rewards of using our card. Obviously, it's negotiable. In this case, we're going to use 64.5, and that is actually shown here as 0.00645. So the cost of using the corporate cards that accrue membership rewards points is actually over $16,000. This amount is actually deducted from the organization's total rebate from the card company. So the organization is losing this amount because people are paying for meetings and events on their corporate card. P cards and meeting cards do not accrue points. This is one of the key reasons why it's so important to get the meeting and event spend off from the corporate cards, especially if they are accruing points. Now, there's plenty more reasons why we'd want to use a meeting card or a P card, but we only have 4 secrets today. Let's also talk about the administrative and processing cost. According to the National Association of Purchasing Card Professionals, the cost of a check request from accounts payable to process any transaction or expense is $83.59, thereabouts. It's an average, of course. And they have actually taken on a project to understand how many steps it takes to process a transaction using the traditional method. They say it's about 30 to 40 steps, and then they itemized it by the person and by an average salary. In contrast, if we use a card to process an expense, there are only 7 to 10 steps generally that might be used, and the cost to process it is $20.55. Again, thereabouts. The savings that we can recognize is about $63 per transaction. That's a significant amount if we think about the organizations and all of the expenses that we have. So these are 2 really key reasons why we'd want to use a card instead of a purchase order and check request to actually pay for meeting and event expenses. Let's go on to secret number 4. It's going to be really important as we move forward to learn how to calculate surcharge fees and improve our contract language so that hopefully we do not get the surcharge fees. On January 27, 2013, merchants in the United States and its territories have the option to add a surcharge to either all credit card transactions they process or certain types of credit card transactions, although 10 states have laws restricting any type of surcharge fees. They include California, Colorado, Connecticut, Florida, Kansas, Maine, Massachusetts, New York, Oklahoma, and Texas. Because many organizations have begun using some form of a card product to pay for products and services, it is important to be aware of the cost if your supplier chooses to charge you this surcharge. Of course, they have to make you aware of these fees before they can charge you. We've actually heard in the news recently that many suppliers have said they will not charge these fees. However, I'm a little skeptical. I never thought I'd be paying for luggage to go on the plane either. So let's understand how to actually calculate these costs and determine what makes the most sense. Let's say our meeting spend transaction amount, and we're going to presume it's maybe with a hotel, is $30,000, right? That's very, very common. And the surcharge fee that a hotel could actually charge us is up to 4%. That means that the surcharge is $1,200, or the total amount that we will be spending is $31,200. Remember that there are some savings that we experience in using the card, one of them being the $63 transaction savings that we saw in the last example. Remember, too, that we will get rebates based on our spend. In this case, our basis points are 50, again, negotiable in your card contract. Our rebate will be expressed as a decimal, 0.005. So the rebate amount that we will earn from this transaction is $156. Yet, if we take the surcharge and the amounts that we get back, it's still a loss of using our card, which is not ideal. So we want to make sure that we do not use suppliers that charge that transaction fee. One of the things that I add to my contract language is that organizations will not pay any administrative credit card fees or surcharges, and I make sure that they know this up front, and if they want my business bad enough, they may waive it. Today, we have not experienced many suppliers charging this fee, but I suspect that it could happen. Now, let's also just look at another example. Let's say in this case, the meeting spend transaction amount is $1,000. If they were to charge the 4%, the surcharge would be $40. The total amount spent would be $1,040. Remember that we have the savings for the administrative and processing cost of $63. Our rebate that we will get back on this transaction is $5.20 based on what our basis points are. So the savings that we will experience still by using a card is $28. So these are examples that you can use as you consider using a card going forward and making sure that the suppliers you use hopefully don't charge you those surcharge fees. I think there's some key questions that we need to ask our card company as we may begin to start to see these surcharges. One of them is, can they identify in advance which establishments will charge the fees? How will they report the fees after they are incurred? Will we be able to get an itemized spend detail on what those fees were, and can they report it monthly to us? And will they begin to create a database or something of all of the suppliers that are charging the fees, and can we know about it every single month? That would help us determine what suppliers to use. We should also note that these surcharges have been around in many other countries for a long time, but it's just now that the United States has made it allowable for them to charge us. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Please let me know if you would like my help in developing your card, your T&E, your travel, or your meetings program. And let's make it fun and win. Thank you so much.